Hello, everybody. This is your host, Fernando from sellerboard. I have a special guest for you. He is Brian R. Johnson from Canopy Management. If you never heard about him, you're going to want to meet him. And I used to work for him. I only have good things to talk about him, and he's going to give us a lot of tips, especially at the end of the video. So stick around. Welcome, everybody. I have today here Brian R. Johnson. If you don't know him, it's because you started selling on Amazon yesterday. You have to know this guy. And he used to be my boss. I used to work at Canopy, and I only have good things to say about Canopy, about him. I know how happy the clients were. So welcome. Thank you so much for having us, Brian.
Thank you for having me here. It's been a hectic day, so I appreciate your patience. So thank you.
No worries. Thank you so much. So this is the famous BRJ. If you have been to any of the Amazon conferences, you have to get in line just to be his fan, because he has a huge line. People try to talk to him. It's huge.
Brian, it is kind of amusing actually that sometimes I have to hide away down a hallway or something like that just to kind of get some me time, which I prefer. But yeah, it's nothing like it's not like a crowd waiting. It's just a handful of people who is like, you know what, I think you're full of it. Let me ask you a question.
Brian, thank you so much for being here. Can you please share your story for people that don't know you?
All right. Well, so I was born a very small child.
Were you?
No, so as from a business standpoint, e-commerce specifically, so I've been in e-commerce for about 14 years now, going on 15 years. Doesn't make me feel old at all. And I've been in Amazon for the last 7.5 years now. And when I first started out on Amazon, I was selling my own products. I still do. And I've got some product partnerships as well as my own products. I won't call them wildly successful because I spent most of my time helping everybody else, apparently, to the point where over my career in the Amazon space, in Amazon advertising, and most heavily the past couple of years when it comes to conversion rate optimization of all things, which I've got a lot of passion for as well. I've helped over 20,000 brands sell. It's now over $2 billion on Amazon.
Wow.
So those are pretty, those are kind of like the chest beat kind of numbers, it's kind of cool and everything. But it's mostly because just you put enough time in, if you do it every single day for many years, for several years, then you're going to have an influence, you're going to have an impact, which is kind of what I was going for. Mm-hmm. I don't look at it from a standpoint of I'm all that. It's more of a case of like, who can I help next? I get fully distracted if somebody just says, hey, you know what? I got nothing. I'm struggling here. What can I do? It's like, of course, yeah, let's sit down. Let's talk. Mm-hmm. So that's probably a bad thing to say for when people actually catch me at conventions and conferences and that kind of stuff, though. Because they're like, hey, come over here.
I've seen this happen. Yeah, I've been there. Okay, tell me about Canopy. How did Canopy start? What are you proud about Canopy today?
Well, so part of my career in the Amazon space with Amazon advertising and marketing is when I first started, I had to develop some things because of my own needs that they simply just didn't exist. I didn't really have anybody to collaborate with. I didn't really have a mastermind to talk about how Amazon advertising works. I was trying to figure it out. And I was beating my head against the wall. I said, okay, well, I'll create a Facebook group and we'll have, we'll get, 20, 30 people and we'll just kind of chat about, about Amazon advertising. Well, that kind of thing, that snowballed because apparently there was a huge gap as far as the information. I was out there researching the information. People were asking me, I'd figure out the question or I'd figure out the answer and give it to them. And that snowballed. And now we've got like 22,000 people in that group.
What is the name of the group for the people that want to join?
That's Amazon PPC troubleshooting on Facebook. And then from there, I wanted to automate some things and get some better insights. Well, of course, there's no software. So I created the first dedicated Amazon PPC software. It was called PPC Scope. That has since been retired. It was retired this last summer here. And so I created that, and that ran for several years itself. And then from there, people want to know, it's like, well, you're always, telling people how to do it. Can do you have something that's more structured? It's like, oh, okay. Let me not do that. Let me just go into coaching. So that's when Brian Burt, who became my business partner in Sponsor Products Academy and in Canopy, he tracked me down and hired me. I want to say that he hired me for it was like $55 for an hour of coaching back then. He says, cool. He goes, you got a lot in your head that you can't get out. You're clearly a geek on this stuff. Let's try to package this into a course that we can sell. And so we created Sponsor Products Academy. So that's how we started the relationship between Brian Burt and myself. And Brian was, he's always been more so in the past. He was always the big bang funnel kind of marketer. And that worked great from a course launch standpoint. Since he's had kids, he's definitely calmed down. So, he's smart as ever, but he's changed his direction. He focuses on bigger things because he's the CEO of Canopy Management, which is the advertising and marketing agency that we founded 4.5 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And as you know, we have, 170, 180 clients, something like that. We've got about 105 staff worldwide. We're a completely virtual company. Mm-hmm. And so
how much money are you managing this year?
I want to say, it's lower this year, but I think we're running somewhere in the, I'm ballparking maybe 500-600 million
nice.
This year.
Nice.
And so we've been doing this for about 4.5 years. So you can do a certain amount of math there, but that's another one of those things where it's like, we don't need to beat our chest on it. It's more of a case of, look, we've made mistakes. We've made some wins. We've gotten more. That's one of the things that I'm proud of with Canopy is, even though the first year was the hardest and I blew out pretty much every client that we had.
Really?
Yeah,
Did you really? It's impossible. I cannot
imagine
it's
true
that.
Because I didn't have. I had the knowledge and the experience in my head. I knew tactically what needed to be done, how to fix things. The problem was managing a team and not having systems and processes that were bulletproof to make sure that it was consistently done by everybody every time across every client. Mm-hmm. Right? Where focus on matters. Like, I can get really creative when it comes to solutions to even help the high competition, niches, and a brand that's struggling the most. I can jump in there, and that's fun for me to be able to solve mm-hmm. that. But you can't do that from a day-to-day operations standpoint. So that's when I had to eat the humble pie and say, look, I'm not an operator. I'm not an operations leader. And so I'm a tactical expert. Subject matter expert, and I've got a lot of other qualities, but that wasn't one of them. And so we brought in the right team to build out the processes. We actually acquired another agency that helped us grow in that area. And eventually, I would say within a year and a half, 2 years from when we first founded, we finally got to the point where we had all the systems and processes and checks and balances and audits and expertise and the right people hired and everything.
And I know you really do.
Yeah, because you've been there. You've seen it.
I've seen it. Yeah.
What kind of culture we have and what kind of teamwork support you get there, and then the thousands of Tetra pages, of course, that we have. Yes. But now we can say, hey, cool, look at our performance track record is phenomenal within the industry. Mm-hmm. But I can guarantee you it didn't start that way. Back then it was like, yeah, I know a lot, but that doesn't mean anything. If it's a one-man show, that one person's going to get overwhelmed and they're going to blow it. Mm-hmm. Question. So you've got to have, it definitely works a lot more consistently, a lot better when you've got a full team that just does it every day, knows mm-hmm. how to do it.
tell me about 2022. What do you think of the market this year? Do you think that's going to be a recession? Or what do you think about holidays?
Well, technically, I believe I'm not an economist, but I believe we're already in a recession.
Recession.
Because I believe it's 2 quarters of declining growth that they consider recession.
GDP,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, which we've had that. So
Mhm.
technically, we're already in a recession. We've had a shift, of course. Obviously, the COVID years disrupted a lot of things, both from the retailers. You see the brick and mortar retailers that are finally starting to just say, look, throw in the towel. I can't do this anymore. We tried to to save it for 2-3 years, and now we just can't even get people to work in the stores in order to sustain our business model that we need to have, and they're just falling by the wayside. There's a number of companies that, if it weren't for the fact that they also partner, like Best Buy is a good example of a company that, for all street appearances, in other words, if you go into the store and there's twice as many employees as there is staff, and they're having trouble getting employees, I mean, twice as many employees as there are customers, and they're having trouble getting employees. That means they're light on employees. That means there's even less customers. They should have been closed years ago. They're a Toys R Us model, right? The one thing that they did do is they partnered up with Amazon, so that a lot of electronics they're buying through Best Buy, and so Prime Days they sell a ton. So you're starting to get some of those hybrid models in 2022, where the traditional brick and mortar brands are being forced to partner with e-commerce platforms in order to get the same amount of traffic that they used to enjoy 5 years ago. So the impact on the service level in both online, physical, retail, government services, whatever the case is, the lack of employees to do the day-to-day job is compounding. It's definitely showing its head. Now, there's a number of things that are going on from an economy standpoint. I know I'm kind of doing some more generalization here, but let's kind of let me point out a couple of things that are going to have a big impact. There's a lot of people who have shifted to either online jobs, and they're not commuting to
work
office
anymore.
The economists or whatever the analysts that look at the commercial office space say that most office space, like nationwide, is about 50% of what it used to be, 50% of capacity.
Wow,
that's not a sustainable business model.
Yeah,
it's even worse when you're talking about big brick and mortar. Big box stores, like the malls or these, the big shopping centers, that kind of stuff. It's even worse because they have higher overhead. We have more traffic requirements. Now, with the federal government discontinuing the hey, you're a citizen, here's your check benefit, the Federal Reserve has said that the Federal Reserve, I may be getting terminology wrong, but the federal government and the analysts are saying, like, look, the average American bank account has been depleted to zero in the past year.
Wow.
As far as savings accounts, they've wiped out their savings account.
Wow.
So they've either shifted to an online job, or they've gotten away with working part-time, or relying on family. There's more consolidation of family going on, which I value, having more time with the family, but at some point the economies don't work, especially when you have inflation that continues to rise, the rising costs, when you got resources like gasoline and fuel and power. Certainly I'm in Texas, and so we have a number of, because of some of the freezes we've had in the past few years, the power companies had to build out their infrastructure, and their recovery fee, in other words, kind of like the tax that they're charging each of their customers who get supplied with electric power, the fee in order to recover their costs is equal to, if not higher than, their actual electric costs. We've had a real summer. And so it's been very common for a household that would have had a $250 electric bill because of air conditioning has a $400 to $500 bill because of the
Wow, that's
charges.
way
So
expensive.
there's lawsuits getting filed and all kinds of stuff, you know, cats and dogs, you know, living together. Who knows? That's an old Bill Murray joke. Anyway, but the point is, there's a lot of things that are going to come to a head here. Depleting savings, people not willing to go get jobs or not willing to commute, changes in family structure as far as, okay, do I put my kids in public school? Is there even enough teachers now? No. So I need to homeschool them, which means I need to have a remote job, which means I can't go into a physical job. The physical jobs have permanent signs now up saying, hey, this is how much we pay for entry-level positions. And they're $18, $20, $25, $30, $35 an hour just to get somebody to be a cashier or a department head at a grocery store.
Wow.
And they can't get people to come to work. But the savings
Wow.
accounts are depleting. Costs are going up. Housing is certainly has gone up considerably. It's going to come to a head where there's going to be a snapback on that. People are going to pull back on their discretionary spending, including e-commerce. And people are certainly going to start that this Christmas season. They're either going to go out with a bang or they're going to pull way back this Q4.
Wow.
So I think that this Q4 is going to be flat as far as sales, can be year over year flat. I mean, not bigger than last year, for instance.
And having 2 Prime days this year is like, it shows how weak the economy is.
It shows how much the Amazon wants to move their new what's the robot vacuum company they bought?
The ones that move the shelves.
What's the name of that? It's one of the the robot carpet vacuum. What's that?
I don't know. I just know the A9, the algorithm.
So they bought theirs. So Prime Day has primarily been Amazon. Oh,
okay. Wow. Oh, the Roomba. Got it. Yeah, the vacuum
Roomba.
robot. Yeah. Got it. Okay.
All right. So they bought Roomba, and so you're pushing Roomba hard come the second Prime Day.
Okay.
But that's also part of the reason why Walmart's got theirs going, Target's got their sale going, Amazon's doing their second Prime Day. These are all based off of retail market signals that people are going to try to spread their spending out across the season rather than batch it up right before, Christmas, for instance, right before the holiday.
Okay. How about Walmart this year? Do you think it's catching up? It's taking some time?
Yeah, Walmart has, we always think, because we're in the Amazon space that Walmart's going after Amazon all the time, but actually Walmart has most of their investment on attacking eBay.
Oh, really?
So they're looking to take down eBay first, and then that'll give them the build-up leverage in order to take on Amazon head-to-head for payment.
Oh,
but they're putting the infrastructure in place to compete head-to-head with Amazon, and they've got deep pockets. So they can do it. It's just a case of what are some other adjustments that Amazon's going to have to make in order to retain its brand loyalty. If everybody, because in business, if you're not constantly innovating, your competitors are going to catch you and pass you within 6 months, usually shorter. If you're in software, it's shorter. But everything else, within 6 months, they're going to catch you. So if you haven't come up with something brilliant and something new that's innovative that makes you a market leader again every 6 months, you're going to get caught.
Wow.
It doesn't matter if you've got 55% market share.
Wow. Yeah. Can I ask some PPC questions?
Amazon as a company is brilliant, but so is Apple. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Apple is coming too with payments, right?
Well, I'm just saying is that Apple's success changes depending on who's in charge.
Oh, okay.
Who the leaders are.
Okay,
of course, Amazon's had that change.
All right, PPC questions. Are you playing with SD videos, sponsored display videos yet?
Oh, yes, definitely. Absolutely.
Oh, do you like it?
Yeah, well, because Amazon keeps expanding it. So you're getting brand store coverage with video. You're getting the standard search results. You're getting In some cases, you're getting in product detail page. So they're expanding. I actually saw it on a headline ad as a video this week as well.
Oh, not yeah. People were talking
That
about that
one's
yesterday.
huge. That is a huge change right there.
Is that sponsored display video or sponsored brand video?
I don't know yet.
Yeah,
Because that is a headline
we'll find out.
position. That's a banner ad position. That is a sponsored brand ad position.
Yes.
And so I believe that it's a sponsored brand ad. I think they've got some exclusivity as far as who's got access to it currently.
Okay.
But I know from my own consumer behavior studies that I've done, unprofessional ones, of course, that the number one way to grab somebody's attention is something that's motion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had always said it's like, it wasn't for the fact that sponsored brand videos are halfway down the page, that would be the first thing that would catch your eye every time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's going to change apparently.
Yeah.
Second thing would be sharp colors that contrast from your competition. In other words, if everybody has a black, is using blacks and grays and muted colors, and you come in with a black product but it has a bright red box behind it, for instance, it's going to catch the eye because things like bright blue, bright green, bright red, those kinds of bright colors that the competition is not using, it catches the shopper's eye. It draws their eye.
Not only the competition, but also the Amazon's websites. If it are colors that are different, that contrast with the Amazon websites, it catches your attention as well.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be a new way to stand out. In other words, it's Amazon's way of me saying, like, you know what? If you've been ignoring video, you can't anymore.
And that brings us to the second question. Streaming TV, the program that they offer you to do a video for you, and you have to pay $50,000, and it's going to go on Fire TV and everything. Have you tried that? I
would not do that.
Okay, why?
That's right up there with having Amazon run your demand side platform, your DSP ads.
Mm-hmm.
It's just foolish. You just might as well just throw your money away.
Really?
Because their goal is not the same as your goal. You have the ability through DSP to run your ads and your videos across those same streaming platforms. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't you just find a service or go with an agency or do it yourself to set up a DSP account or have an agency like ours, run the DSP account for you, and then get access to that, and then have a video that's done, for $5,000, mm-hmm. and then spend the other $45,000 on advertising and get, $300,000 in sales as a result. It's a matter of math, I mean, for most of us at least.
Okay. Question. Another tough question for you. If sponsored display start to being off sites of Amazon, wouldn't that be competing with the DSP ads?
Yeah, I mean, Amazon so SDA or the display ads have been available to target outside of Amazon already. DSP is the enterprise level platform for display ads, both on Amazon and off Amazon. And so what that gives you is, yes, they do compete with each other, but keep in mind is that DSP has priority. So one of the things that was posted recently, it's like, oh, look, sponsored display ads now runs ads in the skyscraper position on the left-hand side of search results. Well, there's always been an ad position there, which was available through DSP. Well, guess what? You're running a sponsored display ad targeting that position on the left-hand side. Somebody else is running a DSP ad. They win it because they're on DSP, because that's the enterprise platform. Plus, they have a whole collection of other tools and data resources and market analysis type of reporting that's available through DSP that you're not going to get through Seller Central at all.
Okay, so
Amazon likes to drip in, oh, here's a feature we pulled over from DSP and now it's available to you. You're like, oh my God, this has got to be the thing that matches the two up. Why do we need to do anything different? And it's like, no, they're just teasing you with what's available in an enterprise platform.
Okay, nice. So it's still worth to do DSP.
If I would say, here's the cutoff point. We find the most success in brands that are currently selling about 100,000 a month on Amazon.
From 100,000 up.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's just, I mean, you could do it with 30,000 or 50,000. Yes. But 100,000 seems to be the level where you've got enough, I guess, kind of like brand equity, if you will. Amazon is willing to show the ads more thoroughly. You've got multiple products to offer. You've got probably have products that have some kind of a subscription platform to them or a follow-up. In other words, you've got a combination of products and experience that, and certainly conversion rates, where that those off Amazon ads, which are naturally going to have a lower conversion rate, you're running products through that advertising off Amazon. And because they're higher converting on Amazon, they make up for the dilution. They make up for the loss in conversion rate by running ads off of Amazon.
Okay.
And so it really, in my opinion, the DSP platform is best suited for brands that are currently close to or doing 100,000 a month on Amazon sales total.
Got it. Another PPC question for you. Branded terms as a defense strategy. A lot of people say, I need to defend my brands. I don't care about the ACOS. I'm going to put $50 bids. I want to defend my brands. Other brand owners go like, well, I don't need to spend money on this because people are already looking for my brands. So I don't care if the competition is taking over all over the page. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think those are opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Probably most of the answers that you should get on this is that somewhere in between, where you're also stream on one side where you're ignoring it but then on the other side, you're also not spending whatever it takes. There are companies out there who just say, like, I don't care about money, just own every single ad spot you possibly can. Cool. Amazon will gladly take your money. No question, But what I like to do when it comes to defensive ads, especially whether it's branded terms or running ads on my own listings, cross promoting my other products, my own listings, is I put up enough of a fight that it makes it expensive for other competitors. So that if they truly want to outbid me, yes, they can. But I don't go so aggressive that it makes it expensive for me, that I'm losing by defending my own brand. I'm simply just putting up some kind of resistance to say, look, you're not going to just pick on me. I'm going to push back.
Okay.
But I'm also not going to pick a fight with you head to head. So that analogy essentially is saying, like, even if you're running ads that are 50 cents for every single ad type possible, and every once in a while the ad shows up because nobody's there, cool. But you now know that your competition at least has to pay 50 cents to be there, which means it costs them something. If you want to go more aggressive than that, cool. But don't completely ignore it.
Got it. What do you think about running VCPM on sponsored display? And because we're getting lots of attribution, like attribution goes crazy with CPM, right? Because people are just viewing, and it's getting a lot of attribution. What do you think? Do you still like using that?
There's more controls with DSP platform for that, but for display ads, again, focus in on the products that have the highest conversion rate of your portfolio. Use those and only those for VCPM, because then it might actually get the attention you want it to.
Got it. Another thing that I had a question for you. Have you ever worked with Facebook ads, Google ads before?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So
typically, Facebook ads is you work with them from 1 week to the next, depending on whether or not your account gets suspended.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Yeah,
but
okay. Google ads, we typically use, there's a couple different platforms, SellerRocket for attribution, or something like an Amped for both AI and ad tend to work pretty well. As long as, again, any product you're advertising off Amazon should be your highest converting products on Amazon.
Okay. Why?
simply because you're not going to have the same level of trust. Native ads within the platform that people trust are always going to have a higher click-through, higher conversion than off Amazon in any other location. And so you've got to absorb, by having a higher conversion rate product running ads, you're absorbing some of that attrition, some of that loss of click-through rate and conversion rate that you get by running ads. Now, if you have a high converting, now high is subjective based off of your particular niche. That may be 25% for some, it may be 50, 60% for some other niches, right? But ultimately, you can definitely grow your visibility and sales, and Amazon has programs to reward you for driving traffic and will give you more of a bump as far as organic goes. And so it's definitely worth doing as long as you've got some time and some budget to throw at that kind of experiment. And say the first time around it's going to be an experiment, and you have products that you consider to have above average conversion rate.
Okay, question. When you were talking to a person, a brand owner that is familiar with the funnel, Facebook ads, and now you're bringing him to Amazon, and he's like, oh, I want to blow top of funnel. I want that structure, top of funnel, consideration, purchase. How do you explain that on Amazon? Because Amazon, the market's so hot, it's already like purchase.
Yeah, but I mean, you can still, I mean, that's kind of where things like branded terms and stuff come in. I mean, you're going to have a certain amount of off Amazon top of funnel. It's going to be more broad. You want to have, ultimately, you want to have a mix. Most brands don't have the training, experience, budget, time, whatever you want to name it, to tackle everything, because that usually requires a team. It's not like, hey, I can do it all. And so usually you want to focus your time in on whatever is giving you the biggest bang for the buck. And frankly, things like, billboard ads or general advertising off of Amazon may not produce the result you're looking for. Now, if you are in a situation where you have a product, maybe you've got other products that you could sell to your customers. Maybe you have a product line that is subscription based or repeat purchase based. Then you have a longer term lifetime value, and you can afford to run those kind of like brand building and off Amazon kind of advertising. So
okay,
ideally you can do it all, but focus your time on what you actually have to spend.
how do you choose to use audience conversion or page visits on sponsored display?
Audience, sorry, say that one again. Audience conversion.
When you're choosing like the bidding, do you want to do you want to do VCPM, you want to do conversion, or do you want to do page visits? Those three options that you can choose when you're building sponsored display.
I know that we test both, but I think that probably the conversion would be the one that's.
Does it depend on your goal?
But I don't even know that Amazon would even have some of the automated bidding stuff that Amazon has doesn't work very well. But I would say focus more on the conversion.
Okay, what if you want to try to go like a little bit of compliments and you want to try to reach a new audience? Would you go for page visits?
Yeah, I mean, you can mix it up and test it. Ultimately, I think it's more of it's going to be more of a test. It's going to be a test because, frankly, some niches, some products don't support that well. I would say ones that have more of, like, here's an example. Impressions would probably work for, like, say, a beauty brand that has more of a theme going on, has more branding involved, more content involved, more product selection involved. Conversion would be probably more based off of, I only have one or two products, for instance. So it kind of depends on the situation as far as which one is likely, again, likely because you still have to test it, which one's likely to work best.
Okay. Let's say you have a client that makes a lot of reels for Instagram and TikTok, and he gives him all these video assets. It's like, I would like to test all these videos on Amazon. How would you go about that?
I probably wouldn't.
You wouldn't
say these are the videos that you need on your product detail pages and your brand pages. You could throw them into, you could work with, like, say, Amazon Post or Amazon Live content, potentially.
But Amazon Post doesn't have video yet, does it?
No, that's kind of the problem, is that Amazon wants to get into the social media game, but they're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But frankly, the way that I look at videos on Amazon have to do more with three primary things, usually not the same as what you're going to have as a reel or a short or a TikTok. It is going to be more like, you've got like a 15, 20 seconds. Here's a benefits driven. What's in it for me?
What's in it for me, guys? If you never saw Brian R. Johnson, you got to remember this. What is in for me in 3 seconds or 5 seconds?
5 seconds. Yeah.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
Everything that you show has to show the main benefit for you in 5 seconds. Remember this.
Obviously, I beat that drum a lot for you to remember that. That's good. Yes, I actually probably do say that in every conversation. Yeah, 5 seconds to the shopper should be able to understand quickly what's in it for me. That means, same kind of thing of politics. Use a 5th grade language. Don't use big words. Don't use industry acronyms and terminology. Don't, buy $5 words, to put in your sentences. You want to be able to, whether it's your image, your secondary images, your bullet points, your A+ content, whatever, you want to have it in 5-second chunks of answering the question, what's in it for me, and maybe a benefit or a feature that supports that benefit. So they're nodding yes, Okay. And usually social media videos, reels and TikToks and that kind of stuff, they don't usually focus on that. And so on Amazon, I would say that 15, 20 second, what's in it for me commercial, if you will, some kind of here's how easy this product is to use the first time, not an unboxing video, not, hey, look, there's some instructions and here's a, cellophane packaging. No. Don't waste people's time. Just show them succinctly how quickly that somebody actually, a model, whatever, and actually uses the product for the first time, so they understand, oh, I can do that. And the third video is going to be a longer one, which typically is a brand video, as far as what makes your brand and your product line stand out from the competition. Don't include stuff like, oh, we had a special, stay-at-home mom programs, and we donate to this pet charity, 5% of all proceeds. People don't. Honestly, people care. Put that in your follow-up material that you put in the packaging. That's cool. Don't put it on your front end when you're trying to get the sale. Focus on what is different. What is your unique selling proposition? What is your superpower that you and your brand and your team have that nobody else has, or that you do better?
That's super important.
Trust your brand. Like, ooh, I like them.
Yeah. If you're unique, people cannot compare you with anyone. They have to buy from you if you're unique. That's the good thing about uniqueness. Right. Okay, but I've been trying different videos, SPV. It's all messed up. They keep competing with itself on keywords. It's a mess. But now with sponsored display video, we have audiences. So that's more interesting. It looks like more a Facebook ads. So that's gonna change the game. I think that's gonna be interesting. All right.
Like audiences. Is you actually have to have an audience that matches up with your target audience.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, it's hit and miss.
Do you take any product that's less than 4 stars, less than 3.8?
To do what? To advertise?
To advertise, yeah. To take on Canopy or to advertise.
I mean, it starts getting down in the 3.5, and you start to have to question. But it's not really about the rating of the product; it's about the conversion rate.
The conversion
now,
rate.
If you get all of those products returned, then you're just shooting yourself in the foot as a brand owner to be advertising a product that is garbage, right? Focus on quality the next time.
Okay. What is the conversion rate you're thinking about? 12%?
Well, the first thing I always say is, like, always focus your budget on the product that have the highest conversion rate of your portfolio, above average of your, whatever your product portfolio is. What are those products that have above average conversion rate? Which ad types, sponsor product, sponsor brand, sponsor display, video, whatever, have the above average conversion rate, and then which ad targets, whether that is search terms in auto or manual keywords, product targeting, category targeting, whichever individual ad targets produce an above average conversion rate. That's where you should be focusing most of your ad spend in order to increase your average profitability of your advertising and make the whole thing work. So if you're struggling with how expensive, the first thing that comes out of your mouth every meeting is how expensive Amazon advertising is, it's because you're doing it wrong. It's because you're not focusing your budget where it should be.
Got it. Cool. Love it.
Just calling it.
Okay. Conversion rate, unit session percentage. What's a good one? At least 12%? Do you compare on the category using
it's relevant to data that we don't have. In other words, it's relevant. It's relevant to the niche that you're in, because if you're selling a supplement, you may have a 60% conversion rate, but you don't really know what the conversion rate is of your competitor. There's ways that you could guess, that you could ballpark it, but you don't really know for sure. If you are selling baby bibs and baby blankets, you're probably talking about a 5% conversion rate, because there's so much damage that has occurred to your conversion rate because of too much selection. Shoppers get into paralysis by analysis when they go into a category where every single seller has a dozen different designs, a dozen different colors of those designs, and a couple different sizes of those colors of those designs. And so now every single product and brand out there has 200 different options to choose from. And they're like, after a while, their eyes glaze over and they don't convert. Guess what? You've got a sub 10% conversion rate.
Wow. How do you know what's a good conversion rate? Do you go for brand metrics? You don't know. How do you choose that? Because if you get a client, you need to check, right, if it's converting or not.
Yeah, I mean, I have the advantage of experience being able to see a wide range of product categories and brands over the years. So I've got to cheat because I've got that kind of visibility and experience. But as a brand owner, I would recommend is like, look, you don't necessarily, what what each of your products conversion rate is within your portfolio. And I see this too often, where a brand owner will come in and say like, oh, our hero product, our number one selling product that we focus all of our attention on and everything is this product because it sells $100,000 a month. Cool. Why is it the fourth or fifth one in down the line in your product line for conversion rate? Why do you have all these other products that you're doing nothing for right now? You're not driving any traffic to that have twice the conversion rate as this first one. Wow. Well, because this is our hero product. You're an idiot. I can understand your reason. Most of it has to do with vanity. Not does this PIs and the ROI and the net profit contribution per product to my entire brand. If you're not looking at your brand that way and you're not looking at every single product that way, then just start. I don't think I answered the full question, but kind of went off on a tangent there.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Thank you so much for watching our interview with Brian R. Johnson from Canopy Management. This is again your host, Fernando from Sellerboards. What you have to do now is go to sellerboard.com, because if you're an Amazon seller, you need to have your numbers right. You need your P&L, you need your inventory management, you need your email automations. You need to check it out, sellerboard.com, to make sure everything is under control. You can try a demo, you can see how the software works. I'm sure you're gonna like it. So visit sellerboard.com right now. Thank you. See you later.